Hello everyone, welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep. I'm Nivedita Raje, your legal reasoning expert, and this is the last lap to CLAT 22, wherein we will be studying the veto powers of the President and the Governor of, not the Governor of India, but the President of India and the governors in their respective states. How are you all? Good evening, good evening, good evening. Hello, hello. So right on time, I'm on time. Good evening, everyone. I'm good. Thank you so much. How have you been? Good evening, everyone. I'm doing pretty well. Yes, so veto powers of the President of India and the governors. So there are certain situations wherein the President might not prefer a particular bill. What exactly is a bill? Let us wait for another minute and then we shall begin, right? Hi, how are you? So all set for CLAT 22. It's almost here. Good evening. Yes, so let us begin. Now, what exactly is a bill? Bill is basically an initial draft of a law. So whenever a law is passed or a proposal is made, it is introduced to the parliament in a form of a bill. For example, let's say that there is a certain infrastructure required for highways. Like highways are not, the proper administration of highway is not there. There are too many accidents happening and there are people collecting tolls on it illegally. There are so many things that need to be regulated by the Ministry of Transportation. So what do? They propose a particular law in the parliament that this is the law that we wish to implement in the country and this is what we are going to do. That bill is presented before all the members of the parliament. Yes, Roman, exactly. So that bill is presented before all the members of the parliament and the discussions and the debates begin, right? उससे related discussions or debates शुरू हो जाते हैं. There are various ministries that might have their interest also. They would present their suggestions. All the ministries would ask questions relating to the bill as to how will the bill be implemented, what are the repercussions of it, what is the expenditure that the bill requires, what are the implementation costs, how will it be executed, all that drama that surrounds the law, how is it to be enforced and executed and implemented, all that is discussed before the parliament. Right. After the discussions are over, a final draft is prepared in consonance with everyone. Right. Everybody's opinion is taken into consideration. All the ministries now are in conformity with the final draft. Now that final draft is voted, okay, in both the houses individually. So it is voted depending on which house it was introduced in. So let's say that it was introduced in Lok Sabha, okay. So people in Lok Sabha, the members of the parliament would vote on it. If the majority votes in favor, the bill is deemed to be passed by Lok Sabha. After it is passed by Lok Sabha, the same bill goes to the Rajya Sabha. The similar procedure happens. The debate, discussions, the questions, etc. relating to it. And then the final draft is voted in the Rajya Sabha also. Rajya Sabha, if the majority votes in favor, the bill becomes a complete final draft upon which everybody agrees, right? Now that bill, that amendment bill is, or whatever bill it is presented to the president. And now until and unless president also signs on it, puts his seal and consent on it, it doesn't become a law, it doesn't become an act. It requires the approval of the president to become a law which can be implemented on the citizens, right? Before a bill can be consented by the president, he might also have certain questions, he might have several reservations, he might have several, what the confusions regarding the implementation, whatever it is in regard to the bill. And there he might, if he doesn't approve the bill, he can exercise his veto power to stop that bill from becoming an act. And that is what the procedure of veto is. So the bill can be stopped by several vetoes. There are several vetoes, so 2 to 3 vetoes that are provided for in the Constitution of India, which the president can use in case of ordinary bills only. When we talk about veto, guys, these vetoes are applicable in case of ordinary bills. They do not apply in case of money bill. ठीक है? हाँ, प्रेसिडेंट के असेंट के बाद बिल एक्ट बन जाता है. वो अमेंडमेंट बिल अमेंडमेंट एक्ट बनता ही तब है जब प्रेसिडेंट हाँ कह देता है. और अगर प्रेसिडेंट नहीं चाहता कि वो एक्ट बने तो वो उसको रोक सकता है. और रोकने का जो प्रोसीजर है और जो पावर है, उसी पावर को हम वीटो कहते हैं. राइट. अब कुछ वीटोज है जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन प्रोवाइड करता है, लेकिन वो वीटो सिर्फ ऑर्डिनरी बिल्स के केस में एप्लीकेबल है. मनी बिल में वीटो पावर काम नहीं करती. क्यों नहीं करती? इसलिए क्योंकि मनी बिल का इंट्रोडक्शन प्रेसिडेंट की मर्जी से ही होता है. Before a money bill can be introduced in the parliament or in the Lok Sabha, actually, it is introduced with the sanction of president. So if he says first and then he exercises the veto, the entire the integrity of the parliament and the voting and everything becomes absolutely redundant. Is there? It depends on the kind of veto it is. डिपेंड करता है कौन सा वीटो है, तब वो होगा कि भाई उस पे टाइम लिमिट भी है क्या नहीं. So it is up to the President of India to either reject the bill, return it, or withhold his assent. So he can do 3 things with the bill. He will either reject it straightforward. Like, I don't like the bill, you cannot pass it, I'm not giving my assent. Or he may return it, that there are some reservations that I have, there are some confusions, there are some questions, resolve them first, then I'll give assent. Or he may just keep it in his pocket and not say a word. Right? So he may just keep it on his bench and keep postponing it, and after a certain time the bill becomes redundant. What vacation? Okay, what vacation? I did not go on a vacation. I wish. So the president's decision on the bill to stop it from becoming an act is called as veto power. So veto is a Latin word which means I forbid, and it is an authority that is given to the state official, or in our case, the executive head of a state or the country. So if something needs to be stopped unilaterally, like if something needs to be stopped by one person exercising his own personal powers, that is when we can say that the member has exercised his veto power. President और गवर्नर दोनों के पास veto रहता है. Okay. So veto is the authority granted to the concerned entity to prevent a decision from being made. It can be used to force a decision, or it can be only used to prevent a decision. In India, veto is very limited. Since the executive head's authority is also limited, our executive head is titular, is only formal. He does not wield any real powers if we talk about the practical scenario. So he cannot force a decision. He cannot force or impose what he wants, but he can prevent a certain decision from becoming final. That is the only case where he can use his veto. Veto power, pocket veto has been used by only one president, Yani Jail Singh. He used it for two bills. Okay, so there are 3 kinds of vetoes. The first one is absolute veto. By using this veto, the president can withhold his consent. In case such bill gets rejected, it cannot become a law. So an outright rejection by the president is called absolute veto. Mind you, the power of absolute veto is not given to the President of India. पॉकेट वीटो, यस आई सेड पॉकेट वीटो, बताया तो सही. ठीक है. एब्सोल्यूट वीटो की पावर इंडियन प्रेसिडेंट के पास नहीं है. इंडियन प्रेसिडेंट या प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया आउटराइटली किसी बिल को रिजेक्ट नहीं कर सकता. और इस पावर को एब्सोल्यूट वीटो कहते हैं. दिस पावर इज गिवन टू द प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स बट इट इज नॉट गिवन टू द प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया. Then we have suspensive veto, in which he can, instead of rejecting the bill, send it back to the parliament for reconsideration. Like I told you, if there are certain reservations or certain confusions regarding the bill, or the bill can be modified in a way that it can become a better bill, it can be returned to the parliament to make the required changes, and then it would be reverted to the president, who can then give the assent. So this scenario, or this process is called suspensive veto, wherein you suspend a decision temporarily. You suspend the bill from becoming an act for a temporary period. How do you do that? You give or return the bill to the parliament for reconsideration. That is suspensive veto. Now we have pocket veto. What is pocket veto? Pocket veto is just keeping quiet. The president neither rejects the bill nor says yes on the bill. He simply keeps the bill and does not return it to the parliament, doesn't say yes, doesn't say no. And this bill becomes a pending bill on which the president has not said anything. तो एक ऐसी सिचुएशन जहां पे प्रेसिडेंट ना तो हाँ बोलता है और ना ही ना बोलता है, वो उस बिल को अपनी टेबल पे ड्रॉअर में रख लेता है और उससे क्वेश्चन भी नहीं कर सकते. भाई आखिर एग्जीक्यूटिव हेड है, ऐसा भी नहीं पार्लियामेंट बार बार घंटी बजा के, फोन करके, व्हाट्सएप करके, साहब आपने हामी नहीं भरी, साहब आपने हामी नहीं भरी, साहब आपने साइन कर दिया, साहब आपने साइन. यू कैन नॉट डू इट. नोबडी कैन डू इट. ही इज आफ्टर ऑल द प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया. So since nobody can question him as to when he'll give the assent, he simply keeps it and doesn't say anything. And he keeps it pending for an unlimited time, and he can do it. So if he keeps that bill pending, he doesn't say anything on it for an uncertain period, for an infinite time, the bill doesn't become a law. Yes, sort of. Understood, everyone? Got it? So this is pocket veto. Got it? So pocket veto has been used only twice by Gyani Jail Singh. It was used to stop the Indian postal bill from becoming an act. Okay. So what are the constitutional provisions relating to it? Article 74 provides the power to the president to withhold his assent to a bill when it is presented to him instead of returning it to the parliament. So pocket veto power is given to Article 74. Got it? Yes. The power of pocket veto is provided for in Article 74. Then we have Article 111, which governs the president's veto power. Article 143 provides the power to the president to seek any consultation from the Supreme Court. So it is not really veto, but it is more like advisory jurisdiction. So if he wants to exercise pocket veto or suspensive veto, only two vetoes are vested with the President of India. So if he wants to exercise these two vetoes, or if he wants to understand the constitutionality of a particular bill, or the reservations or the effect of it on the Indian citizenry, he may seek Supreme Court's advice, and the Supreme Court can advise President on that particular law. If the President wants, he can execute or follow the advice, implement the advice, or the President may choose not to follow the advice. So this power is not veto, but this power is called advisory jurisdiction of Supreme Court. And this is vested only with the Supreme Court. Governor cannot seek such advices from the High Court. Okay. Article 200 deals with governor's power in relation to providing assent to bills passed by state legislator, as well as other powers of the governor, such as reserving the bill for consideration by president. So instead of pocket veto, the governor can keep a bill saying that he needs president's approval on it, and he can keep it for an indefinite period. हिंदू न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ाई कब होता है? मुझे आपका क्वेश्चन ही नहीं समझ आया मुस्कान. If he completes his presidential tenure, the bill becomes redundant, just piece of paper. Supreme Court doesn't interfere with legislative matters. No, no. The advice is not binding on the president. It is only a suggestion and an interpretation uh, to an upcoming law. It's more like that. So advice can definitely be given. It is the Supreme Court is exercising its power to interpret a law, whether it is an enacted law or a pending law. The Supreme Court can very well do it, and the advice is not binding. If the advice would have been binding, then we could have said that judiciary is interfering with the legislative process, but it is not. President may choose to reject outrightly the advice given to him. So it is not interference. Yes. Article 200 deals with the power of the governor in relation to withholding his assent. Article 201 gives governor the power of the state to reserve a bill passed by the state legislature for the consideration of president. So what he can do is, he can just keep the bill and explain that he wants it to be considered by the president, and that bill can be kept that way for an infinite time. ठीक है, कोई भी बिल हो, वो कोई भी बिल हो, कितना इंपॉर्टेंट हो, कितना ही नॉन इम्पोर्टेंट हो, वो गवर्नर प्रेसिडेंट रिकंसिडरेशन के नाम पे हमेशा के लिए अपने पास रख सकता है, इनफाइनाइट टाइम के लिए रख सकता है, उस पर कोई टाइम लिमिट नहीं है. और अगर गवर्नर का टेन्योर खत्म हो जाता है या उससे पहले स्टेट लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली डिसॉल्व हो जाती है, तो वो बिल रिडंडेंट हो जाता है, फ्रेश बिल लाना पड़ता है. सस्पेंसिव वीटो की पावर प्रेसिडेंट के पास भी है और गवर्नर के पास भी है. कोई भी अमेंडमेंट बिल है, अगर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को अमेंड करने का कोई बिल है, उस पे सस्पेंसिव वीटो की पावर को एक्सरसाइज किया जा सकता है. एंड द यस, yeah. So Article 368 provides the power of amendment to the parliament. This power is only given to the parliament. And when it comes to an amendment bill, only suspensive veto can be exercised. Only suspensive veto. That means that the amendment bill can be sent back to the parliament for reconsideration. It cannot be rejected. It cannot be withheld. Got it? Passing of ordinary bill, if the president give their assent to the bill, it becomes an act. I already told you that. If they do not give their assent, it dies and does not become an act. Simple. They may refer the bill back to the houses for reconsideration. Money bills, president cannot return money bill. Money bill can only be introduced in the Rajya Sabha. Sorry. Money bill can only be introduced in the Lok Sabha. Of course, Pitambar. Passed? No. Of course not. They cannot do it. Executive can. Acha, withdraw. You mean withdrawal? Yes. Bill can be withdrawn. Of course it can be withdrawn. Farmers bill withdraw किए तो गए हैं. Stay लगा दिया गया ना उन पे. हो जाते हैं बिल withdraw हो जाते हैं. नहीं भी होते withdraw तो उन पे कोर्ट stay लगा देता है. फिर उनको वो withdraw करना पड़ता है. अब मनी बिल क्या होता है? मनी बिल इज अ बिल दैट कैन ओनली बी इंट्रोड्यूस्ड इन द लोकसभा, right? And it is introduced by the sanction of president only. Before a money bill can be introduced, the president's consent or approval is required. So that is why afterwards he cannot exercise his veto power. He cannot return it. He cannot withhold it because he said yes in the first place. पहले तुमने हाँ कह दिया, बाद में तुम मनी बिल पे वीटो एक्सरसाइज करोगे, तो ये कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल प्रोविजंस की और पार्लियामेंट की पावर की मौकरी हो जाएगी. इसीलिए प्रेसिडेंट मनी बिल को रिटर्न नहीं कर सकता, क्योंकि मनी बिल को इंट्रोड्यूस ही प्रेसिडेंट की मर्जी से और उसके अप्रूवल से किया जाता है. तो पहले हाँ और बाद में ना, नहीं चलेगा. ओके. President can only keep the bill for 14 days at max. After 14 days or within 14 days, if he doesn't assent on the bill, if doesn't give approval on the bill, it is deemed as passed. Okay. Normally, the president gives his assent to a money bill as soon as it is introduced with his prior approval. Okay. So that is it. I know it is a small session, but it is all that the veto power contains. I hope everything is clear to you. It's 110, Rohan. Okay, so that's it for today, guys. This is our last lab schedule on 3rd June. That is tomorrow. Alpa ma'am would be taking or solving vocab-based questions in RC. 4th June, I have a session on the presumption and evidence law. Very, very important concept of criminal law, presumptions as to death, paternity, consent. Very, very important. Confusing also. That is why we are teaching you them. And Alpa ma'am would be taking another session on 6th, 7th, and 8th. KD sir have sessions on 7th and 8th respectively. And that's it for today. Everybody is supposed to like the session and do not forget to join us on the analysis on June 19 and on June 26. Everybody can follow us here. Right, on YouTube, on Instagram, like us on Telegram, like us on Facebook, join us on our Telegram channel and download the app from Google Play. Thank you so much, Nandini. Thank you so much. That's really kind. वीटो के क्वेश्चंस पॉलिटिकल साइंस में आ सकते हैं, जीके में आ सकते हैं, ठीक है। गवर्नर के पास सेम पावर है जो प्रेसिडेंट के पास है स्टेट लेजिस्लेटिव बिल को लेकर। अमेंडमेंट की पावर में सस्पेंसिव वीटो को यूज किया जाता है जो कि गवर्नर नहीं कर सकता क्योंकि कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट सिर्फ पार्लियामेंट करता है। सो दैट पावर इज ओनली wielded with the President of India, right? So everybody is supposed to like the session. Nobody leaves without liking. Share our session, comment on it, and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And I shall see you again day after tomorrow. Tab tak everybody take care. Bye bye. Thank you so much.